I just am trying this thing again where I just sit down and I start talking and then we see what happens. I have built the muscle of externalizing my thinking onto the page through writing for years now, and it's a tool and practice that I hold dear. And I don't know how to do that so much like this, just talking and trying not to fumble my words. I'm practicing that right now. You're watching me practice that right now. So I want to say something because this actually comes up a lot with writing, which is that when I teach people how to grow a writing practice that honors the season of life that they're in, that is on their terms, that uses their tendencies instead of works against them, people wait. This is so common. So see if this is true for yourself too. People wait to write until they feel ready. Do you do that too? And readiness is a really difficult thing to gauge. How does one gauge their readiness? Does that mean that you don't have any fear? Does that mean that your day isn't busy and you've made it to the end of your to-do list somehow magically? Like, what does the readiness mean? Is the readiness on, is it just someday when one can be in solitude and know that right when they sit down there's going to be a flow of words and it's just going to be easy and wonderful? Like, what is this readiness? And I've been doing that when it comes to this, sitting down and recording. I've also been doing that when it comes to recording Gentle Musings, which is my podcast. I've been waiting until there's this like amorphous sense of readiness. Let me just nip that in the bud really quick. When I teach about growing a writing practice, the pivot there, the reframing is from readiness, something that is hard to kind of discern. It's hard to have a metric for. It might never come, right? We might never feel ready. Readiness into willingness, an ounce of willingness to try something, Willingness we can measure. Well, are you showing up for it? That's one way that we practice willingness, is just showing up and seeing what happens. Willingness is asking for help. There's usually something action-oriented in willingness. Cracking open your, or not even cracking it open, but like putting your journal next to the coffee machine, like that is a demonstration of willingness. So I'm practicing willingness in this moment by just being here for the process, the emergent process of like just sharing myself and seeing what happens. If any of this is landing for you already, I would love to hear from you. If you want to drop a comment, like, where have you been waiting to feel ready? And where might you need to practice some willingness? What does that willingness look like? What feels available to you? What feels actually fun? And like luminous, like what sounds fun to me when it takes courage to show up in this way? What sounds fun to me is lowering the stakes, depressurizing things, and just like doing this, just like having a coffee together, having a tea together, just talking. Just really quick, if we don't know each other too, my name is Maggie. I run a creative research studio called Regarding Do, where I support people in connecting to their creative selves, what that means for you, and creatively engaging with life. One way that I have been practicing slow productivity has been to slow down my internal pace. This takes a lot of courage, especially as a practiced rusher of doing things, a caffeinated person who rushes. I have been doing something very interesting, which I want to offer to you in case you want to try this too. So this works if you love writing. This also works if you don't really write. You just need something to write on, even just like a printer paper. When I work, and it might not also work for your work, but okay, I'm just going to cast it out there. I know that everybody has different variables in their life. I have thought a lot about, for a while now, how over-dependence on laptops and phones, but using the screen to write and type and make things. So it's the place of business, it's the place of work for a lot of us. How that changes our thinking, it becomes a mediator of the ways in which we can think. So in kind of disturbing ways too. So for example, if you experience writing only through typing, I'm so glad that you write. And you know this is true too, typing is a very different experience than writing by hand in so many ways. And when I am writing curriculum, when I am building out a course, when I am honing an offer, I do it through the computer. I do it on the screen. And what happens when I bring more of that onto the page? So what I have been doing is I have my journal in front of me, and then I have my laptop. And whenever I am trying to think something through or have a hurdle, or I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to figure out this thing, you know, I'm working through my work, instead of sitting and just looking up at out the window or at the sky and like, and then trying different things, opening up 5 tabs, Googling, I'm just trying to write. I'm trying to write it out and find clarity on the page as an interruption to the screen. So one example of this is in January. In January, I hosted a workshop called Closing Loops Together. And loops are basically your open tasks, whatever kind of open tasks you have. And the idea of closing the loop is that you wrap it up, or it comes to some sort of natural stopping place. So we have loops that reopen every day and that we hopefully close every day or every couple days. Like one random example coming into my mind right now is doing the dishes. This is a recurring loop that opens and closes. Whereas doing your taxes, I'm looking at some taxes right over there, is a loop that we might avoid, an avoided loop, and it closes at a certain time in the year. And you might have to attend to your taxes throughout the year, but like submitting taxes, there's a clear closing there. Okay, for example, or like I want to paint my coffee table. So that's an open loop. It's a desire that I have. It's not urgent. It's not pressing. It doesn't, it's not dependent on my work or other people or anything like that. Just a creative desire. And when I finish doing that, the loop is closed. But there's also loops within loops. So I need to go to the store and get my little paint thing. And then I need to get the supplies. And then that loop closes. And I need to, okay. So this workshop, Closing Loops Together, was a time for us to do just that. It was like a co-working. It was really fun. And I gave a workbook to help identify and get clear and prioritize what the different loops are. And then also to have the support and community around attending to the loops that you might have been avoiding because they're unclear, they're daunting, they involve other people, they require some more information maybe they're at the edge of a comfort zone. So we had this, and I wasn't planning to offer it again. And I had the thought the other day, it would be really fun to do this at the season changes. I immediately dove into it and started, doing everything to get this ready without pausing and asking myself, okay, this is a shiny idea. Do I really want to do this? Can I just pause and tap into the desire there? Is this something that I really desire? And the way that I did that was writing. One of the things I didn't want to do is market this and work on copywriting and having to do all these marketing emails so that people knew that it was happening. Sounds very tedious and exhausting for me. And so I wrote out, what is the desire? What are the blocks? What are the ways forward? What? And what ways could I approach this with space and fun and simplicity? I want to offer that to you. Have you ever written out an email, like maybe emotionally loaded or difficult email, or an email where you are really having to practice a boundary or ask for something clearly? Writing it out, just journal and laptop right there, journal and computer right there, and using the practice of writing to help you through. That is one way that I am practicing slow productivity, and I'm talking a lot. I think I'm kind of procrastinating what the next thing is that I need to do. So I'm going to wrap this up. Okay, see you soon.